This is a message from Congregation Bnai Yeshurun. The tribute video in honor of Rabbi Steven and Karen Pruzansky will begin now.
As a child, he was interested in history. He knew all the presidents of the United States, all their statistics. He knew baseball cards, the baseball players, and all their statistics. He was very interested in statistics, but I don't think that was an indication of him becoming a rabbi.
And here I am in BMT, and a number of years later, not that many, the 70s, once again, a Pruzansky shows up, Steve Pruzansky. And we hit it off right away. To me, he was not Steve, he was not Pruzansky, he was the Pruz, which was a reminder of Pras, an award, top quality. We bonded together because the message of Eretz Yisrael, La'am Yisrael, Al-Pitorat Yisrael, motivated and pulsated within my body and within Steve as well.
Thinking back early on, when Stephen graduated law school and he became a lawyer, he was then also a part-time rabbi. But I thought that was just parnasa because he was married to Karen and he needed to have an income and he was doing the part-time rabbi thing. But many times when my husband would come into the office and when Stephen should have been looking at his law notes for a trial the next day, he was in fact looking into Sforim and learning. So that may have put an idea in the back of our minds that maybe law wasn't the profession Stephen really wanted.
I was head of the search committee with Eliezer Stavsky, and Rabbi Pruzansky came to my house and we were going to go meet the committee. And the rabbi knocks on the door and I say, "Hello, Rabbi Pruzansky." He says, "Hello." He says, "You know, I don't have a black hat." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "My hat got stolen. I work in the Bronx in the courthouse and they broke into my car and stole my hat." And I said, "Okay, I don't think I've ever heard that one, but we'll go meet the committee without the black hat." "Rabbi, after 26 years of seeing your hat collection, I can't believe someone would steal your black hat."
They made it tonight that he had to leave law, full-time rabbinate. They would pay him a full-time salary, but it had to be a full-time rabbinate. And he took a congregation that was on the map already, but wow, he really put it on the map.
I was president when Rabbi Pruzansky started. We were welcoming a new rabbi as well as building a new building. Challenging times for both. Rabbi Pruzansky helped on the fundraising effort for the building. And then I could recall that one time Rabbi Pruzansky spoke to me and said he was going to Washington to protest some aspect of the Oslo Accords. And all I could say to him was that, do me a favor, just don't chain yourself to anything, because we really don't have the funds to bail you out.
I want to wish Mazel Tov to my parents on this incredible milestone. From the time I was little, I knew that my father had dreams. And one of those dreams was to be the rabbi of a big shul. And another one of those dreams was to live in Israel. And it's inspiring to know that you set your sights on something and you can make them happen. My mother's dream has always been to just be happy wherever she is, which is inspiring in its own way. And I'm really, really fortunate to have them as role models for so many things in life.
Growing up as the rabbi's daughter was really wonderful. I got all the benefits of having my father as this prominent figure to some, but never felt any of the pressure that often comes associated with it. My parents let me pretty much do what I want, act the way I want, sometimes dress how I wanted. I really felt a sense of freedom that I know a lot of other people who grow up in a rabbinic family don't feel.
So listening to all these rabbinic prabas, one question that keeps being asked at the Q&A session is, what do you plan to do to maintain a normal life for your children and your family? And I think, honestly, and I don't know if my siblings would agree, but I think my parents can write the book on what it's like to raise and maintain healthy and normal children, at least healthy and normal sons. I think the jury's still out on my sisters. But I think that the number one thing that they would say, and I think has been true, is just really making your family a priority. And in that realm, I think when I view my parents, I don't necessarily view them as the rabbi and rebbetzin of the shul, because that's never how they made themselves appear. They never missed a game of mine, they never missed a baseball game, a hockey game. Actually, my father, not only would he come to the hockey games, there were a few times where he wasn't even asked, but he started being the person on the buzzer until he got a little trigger happy every so, he would just be sounding the buzzer at every free moment. And then he wasn't asked back to be the buzzer, but he'd still come back to be the game. There was one game, actually, we were playing against SAR. Steve Fox's son was on the team. The person who was broadcasting said it's really getting out of hand in this stadium. A prominent rabbi in the area actually ran onto the court in between periods and gave the refs a piece of his mind. I knew it wasn't anybody else. It had to have been my father.
My parents were always very giving of their time to the shul, yet as children, we never felt deprived at all. My parents always made us their top priority. For example, I remember Shabbos lunch, for example. My father never wanted us to eat out at a friend's. He would always be very upset if we wanted to go to a friend's. He made sure that was our special time as a family. Sundays were always very, very busy for my parents, and my mother, I guess she felt bad about it, so she always made sure that we had phone numbers of every takeout place, and we were always able to take out food.
The Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva that the path to Tshuva requires that you change your name. So when I joined this family, my name was Ari, but somehow it got changed to Ari G. And then all of a sudden, REG was too hard, so it got changed to G. And I told my father-in-law that I didn't appreciate being called G. So it got transitioned to the artist formerly known as G. And finally, my new name is Afkag, as short for the artist formerly known as G. So thanks to my father-in-law, now I'm on the path to a new life. Thank you.
Grandma and Zadie, our kids love you so much. They love coming to the house, and no matter what's going on in your busy lives, you always make the time for our kids and you make them feel special. They particularly enjoy Zadie time, and Grandma, you're always available to help out and to babysit, and we all love you.
What's it like having a prolific author of a father of 4 books available at all reputable bookstores? What's it like having a father who's an author of a renowned blog with advertisement space available for purchase on RabbiPruzansky.com? It'd be much better if you purchased his books.
I think a lot of my parents' work in Bnai Yeshurun has been to be there for people for all their questions, helping people clarify things, whether it's philosophical or emotional. I don't think that there is any other role of a rabbi maybe that is more significant than that.
Several years ago, when Rabbi Pruzansky's name came up in conversation with my father-in-law, Rav Harlap, he stopped for a moment and said, Rabbi Pruzansky, he is the most courageous rabbi in America today.
I had the pleasure of having Rabbi Steven Pruzansky grow up in our shul, Beis Torah in Monsey, Suffern, New York, and he was there for many years. And we knew from the beginning that Steven Pruzansky was going to be a name in the Jewish world, and that he really was going to not only accomplish great things for himself personally, but that he would be a great asset for the Jewish people, for Torah, and for the land of Israel.
It takes someone who is in the administration of the shul to realize the responsibilities that are given to the rabbi and his family, and certainly Rabbi Pruzansky and Karen have fit the bill. Not only have they taken on their shoulders the overall image of Bnai Yeshurun and leading the shul and so on, but during their long tenure here, they also took care of the personal problems of many of our kehillah.
It's been a singular honor to be able to serve this wonderful kehillah alongside Rabbi Pruzansky for more than a decade. When I initially was offered the position here, somebody reached out from the shul and said to me, make sure you pay attention because Rabbi Pruzansky is a master at his trade, a master of, and make sure you learn from him. And I think and I hope that I've taken advantage of that opportunity to watch and to grow and to see and to use those lessons in order to forge my own path in Rabbanos, but one that's very, very much has been influenced by what Rabbi Pruzansky has said, what he has done, and what he has taught me.
The rabbi, in conjunction with the administration when I was the president, was very, very instrumental in starting multiple minyanim, both in the morning and in the afternoon. He was also very helpful in helping set up the young couples minyan, which to this day is a thriving minyan.
A few years back, when I was interviewing for the rabbinic intern position in Bnai Yeshurun, so Rabbi Pruzansky, I didn't know it was going to be a whole process, but he told me that there was going to be an interview involved. So we met up, I sat down, I was a little bit nervous. It was all of one question. He asked me at the time who my posek was. So I said I had a certain Rebbe in YU that I would ask my shilos to, my grandfather at the time I would ask my shilos to. And he was like, wrong. Now it's me. And that was it. So I got my one question wrong, but I accepted the rabbi as my posek, and with that he gave me the rabbinic internship position.
The central message that the best possible life that a person can live and the best possible life for a Jew is the learning of Torah, the keeping of mitzvos. It's an idea that Rabbi Pruzansky repeats again and again in his shiurim, in his classes, in his drushos, that a Torah lifestyle and the learning of Torah and that type of way that Hashem demands of us and expects of us is the best way to live your life.
I think it's well known that Rabbi Pruzansky is somebody who has very strong opinions on many, many issues, and he's certainly not afraid to express and share and defend those opinions. I actually agree with a lot of his opinions, although not everything. I've defended him sometimes in print and verbally. But I respect, even if I disagree with him, the fact that he has the courage of his convictions to stand up strongly for what he believes in, even though it may not always be the popular position.
יישר כוחו של ידידי הרב הגאון, הרב שמואל פרוזנסקי, גם צדיק, גם גאון. אף על פי שהוא הסתיר גם את זה וגם את זה. והיה מסור לקהילה, אבל כמו שאומר רבי יהודה הלוי, ליבי במזרח ואני בסוף מערב. הוא תמיד היה עם הלב, עם המוח בארץ ישראל. וגם מה שהוא לימד את הקהילה. וזה לא סותר את מסירות הנפש. דווקא מתוך קשר לארץ ישראל אפשר ללמד תורה.
I had the pleasure of serving with Rabbi Pruzansky as a colleague and also being his congregant. And I am impressed, as everybody who knows him is impressed, by his great skill set. He has tremendous oratory talents. He writes so beautifully. But most importantly is his passion for all things important, for Torah, for the land of Israel, and for the people of Israel.
I want to thank you for always coming to visit the teens and doing our question answers, which are real highlights and very memorable for all of the youth of our shul. They get a glimpse into how a clear, well thought out mind operates on the spot with the pressure of having questions directed right at you.
He also started his Jewish history lecture series on weeknights, which was very well attended and very well received from a tape perspective as well. His shiurim were expanded significantly to this day.
Over the past 20 years, I've had the opportunity to work together with Rabbi Pruzansky. It has been a zchus to be able to watch him in terms of his role in Bnai Yeshurun, in the greater Bergen County community, and ultimately his involvement in all of Klal Yisrael.
Rambam tells us in Perek Vav of Hilchot Deyot
that Rov Ma'aseh Bnei Adam, the majority actions of a person during the course of his lifetime, is Nimshach Achare'av V'Chaveirav, simply follows the example of his friends and his colleagues. I hope that your decision to make aliyah will serve as the impetus for your other chaverim on the RCBC and the broader rabbinic community to follow in your footsteps and be Mikayim the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael.
I answered his phone call when I accepted the position at Keter Torah with great excitement. Rabbi Pruzansky warmly welcomed me into the community, and he added a note that he had 8 families from Bnai Yeshurun that he would like to send to me at Keter Torah. Hopefully I'll have the opportunity to reciprocate to his successor.
For the last 10 years since we moved to Teaneck, I've had the blessing of learning from Rabbi Pruzansky. Rabbi Pruzansky, whether it's the law and the law, whether it's the presidents and the Jews, whether it's the centurions, when he presents material, well, first of all, he puts 4 hours into 1 hour. Secondly, he's not just giving you facts, he gives you analysis. He challenges you, he challenges your assumptions. When I have a chance to learn from him, when he's giving a drasha, or he's giving a class, or just going to him with ideas, in my personal life, in learning, having a chance to ask him how he sees the world. He's one of the most stimulating, challenging people that I know.
I know the rabbi just started, but are you sure he said that?
What? You're talking about the rabbi? He said what?
He said what?
He wrote what? Really?
He said what?
He wrote what? He blogged what?
Don't worry, I'll speak with him.
As you know, I'll look into it. Don't worry. Let me check it out. I don't believe it. Let me check it out. I'll call you right back.
All right, you know what? Let me just check this out before we come to any conclusions. I'll look into it a little bit more and I'll get back to you. Give me a day or two to look into this. Stay calm for now, and we'll touch base in a couple of days.
Let me look into it. There's got to be some explanation.
Gee, after this phone call, there's one thing we need to do.
Yeah, Karen, thank God I don't have to listen to these people anymore.
Rabbi Pruzansky calls himself a Kalta Litvak, but I could tell you I experienced something very different this past Yom Kippur after he concluded with Neila and davened for us for Neila. I could tell you that he broke down, he kept hugging people, didn't let people go, and it was a side of him that is not real evident all the time, but it was just genuine, wishing the congregation well, knowing that this was the last Neila he was going to be doing for us.
It gives me great pleasure to extend a hearty mazel tov to Karen and Steven upon this wonderful occasion of completing so many years of dedicated service to our community and particularly to Bnai Yeshurun.
Now that he himself is going to live in the land of Israel, he'll be able to continue his great work on behalf of Torah and the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And I wish him all success and blessings.
On behalf of my wife and myself, we'd both like to wish Rabbi and Mrs. Pruzansky much continued success in all their endeavors and continued nachas from their family.
I just want to wish you guys a good trip to Israel, and hopefully your book sales, Abba, go really well so that Tamar and I can officially move to Israel soon.
What a treat it has been working as a Gabbai Rishon under Rabbi Pruzansky all these years. Watching you lead by example for me and to all the congregants. You have inspired so many people with your wisdom and knowledge. You and Karen have made this shul an amazing place to daven.
Rabbi and Karen, I want to take this opportunity to thank you both for your many years of service to our shul and our community. And I wish you both bracha ve'atzlacha in this very new, beautiful, and exciting time of your lives.
On behalf of Michal and myself, we just want to extend the mazel tov to the Pruzanskys. It's been such an honor to be together with you in the community for so long. and to watch you fulfill your dream of making aliyah.
To Rabbi Pruzansky and to Karen, we wish you success. We look forward to seeing you soon on our visits to Modi'in.
הגיע הזמן, בעזרת השם, שיבוא לארצנו הקדושה. ברוך הבא בשם השם.
My wish is that his moving to Eretz Yisrael should be a bracha and a Kiddush Hashem through his Arbatzas Torah, just like his Arbatzas Torah in America.
I like to sit next to Zadie and Shmuel, and yeah, I wish you a great time moving to Israel.
Rabbi and Karen, I just want to thank you for everything. You mean so much to me and my family. I was a young man when you guys took over, and thank God it's been a wonderful 26 years.
Rabbi and Karen, thank you very much for all the years of leadership and comfort and guidance that you have provided not only to Lonnie and I and our children, but to the entire Bnai Yeshurun family.
We're so excited for Grandma and Zadie to move to Israel.
I'm really going to miss you here, and I hope you have a good time in Israel. I love you, Grandma and Zadie.
We are going to miss him, but I'm sure he will represent us in the Knesset.
I wish you much success on this next stage, making aliyah, and I hope to keep in touch.
Mommy and Abba, we can't wait for you to fulfill your dream of making aliyah, and we can't wait to greet you in Israel.
Mazel tov, Rabbi Pruzansky and Karen. We're going to miss you.
ושם מסביב לעולם יש צרות, דאגות, החיוך נעלם, מחר תראה רק שחור, כי גם זה יעבור, והכל יסתדר, כי השם יעזור. יש תקווה, נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא נתפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. היי אחי, בוא איתי, שים ידך בידי, אל תדאג, אל תפחד, כי ניצד יד ביד, הקדוש ברוך הוא את כולנו אוהב, ותראה שמחר ייגמר הגט. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרעד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד. יש תקווה, אם נשיר כולנו יחד, נשיר כולנו יחד, יש אמונה חזקה מכל הפחד, לא ניפול, לא נרד, כי אנחנו לא לבד, יש לנו השם אחד.